Hi friends, welcome to Simple, Joyful, Mindful Living. My name is Jessica and today I'm going to share a video about setting up a family home filing system. So it is Saturday morning and my husband has gone off to work. We had several months of him not working on a Saturday, just working Monday to Friday, and it was amazing, but he has started going back to work on Saturdays again. And so I kind of wanted to change up my routine on a Saturday and not do, a full kind of cleaning or anything like that. But I did still want to get something done for the home, and I've got a long list of home projects I'm wanting to tackle. So I thought that perhaps Saturday morning could be a good time to do that. So one of the things on my list is a filing system. When we first were looking for a place together, one week in Aldi, they had a filing cabinet on sale, as part of their special buys. So we picked it up, but then we moved in together and I did open the box and it looked very complicated to build. So I kind of put it off, and then we were planning our wedding and I was pregnant, and we were just kind of getting settled into home life together, and I never completed the filing, building the filing cabinet or setting up the system. So thankfully my husband built it, but yeah, I just didn't get around to buying the hanging files, or really kind of implementing any of it. I was just very preoccupied with everything else that we had going on. So I thought that would be a good first project to tackle before our paperwork just gets too out of control. So while I haven't set up our home filing system, I have had a lot of experience with filing in the past. Having worked admin since leaving high school, I had a brief stint in retail, very brief, but predominantly have worked administration jobs, and each different company that I worked for had a different filing system. Some of them used hanging files, are they called suspension files, in a filing cabinet drawer, which is what I'll be setting up today. Some of them used binders, some of them scanned documents and kept everything on the computer. So there is an enormous variety of ways that you can file your important paperwork. And I don't really think that any one way is better than the other. I think it just depends on your personality, the amount of time that you want to dedicate to filing, the resources that you have, if you've got things on hand, or if you might not want to go out and buy a whole filing cabinet or whatever. So I really don't think that there's any one sort of perfect way to file documents, but I do think it's really important to keep all of your documents somewhere that you can find them easily, because there's nothing worse than, if you're trying to get something done and you need to find your birth certificate and you can't find it anywhere, or you're looking for a tax document, or in the back of your mind that there's a bill that you have to pay, but you can't find the bill anywhere. So I think that it is, while there's not any one perfect way to manage your paperwork, it's definitely important to manage it. So the way that I'm going to set it up today, as I said, is with a filing cabinet and the drop suspension files. So obviously that's what I'll be talking about and showing you, but there is a massive amount of other ways you can do it. So if you're not interested in doing it with a filing cabinet, then there'll be other videos, I'm sure, on YouTube of people showing you how to, store your documents in a different way. So I guess the first thing that I'll show you is what I will be using to set it all up. And I just noticed that you can see my chopped up strawberries there in the background. I'm waiting for our oats to soak. There's a couple of bowls there of oats. I'm just waiting for those to soak, and then we'll add the strawberries and eat our breakfast. But while that's soaking, I thought I could get a start on filming, because I'm sure as a mother, you can't always just do a project from start to finish. So I have just surrendered that to that idea and allowing myself the full day to get it done. So I'm not going to stress about getting it all done in an hour or anything. I'm just going to do it in little blocks and it'll get done, and it will be a project I can tick off my list, but I just might not get it done in an hour. So I'm going to show you all of the things that I will be using and where we have our filing cabinet, and then yeah, I'll just bring you along as I create it. Now, I did mention that I didn't think that there was any one way that was better to file your paperwork, but in my experience in my jobs that I've had, simple is always better. If you complicate things too much, the idea of, filing and sorting out your paperwork just can feel kind of overwhelming and not something that you really want to do. So then you just kind of stack it all up in a pile and things get lost, and then the pile is out of control and it would take you, days and days to sort through everything. So I think, like with most things in life, simple is always best. And that is part of the reason that we got the filing cabinet with the drawer, with the hanging files, so that I can just easily open the drawer, slip the paper in, and be done with it. There are other ways, like the binders and everything. It's not like they're a massive amount of work, like a lot more work, but you do kind of have to, find the right binder and get the plastic sleeve, slide it in, put it away, which is really not a lot of work and totally doable. But in my mind, it was just simpler to open a drawer and drop the paper in the right file without kind of fluffing around with everything else. Yeah, so I will just get started with showing you what I've got to use. So this is the filing cabinet that we got from Aldi. This is the one that we're going to use. And it's just in our kitchen. And actually I have my microwave sitting on top of it. We didn't have a lot of bench space and I didn't want to take up the bench space we did have with the microwave. So I thought that it would fit well on there. So I just have it in our kitchen. And we just got the microwave, and then on top here is just where I keep any mail that comes in and my planner, and it's just in this little caddy with all of our pens. Got a couple of essential oils. What do I have? Wild orange and lavender in there. A bunch of pens, our little change jar, and a flower. And so this is, so it's got the two drawers on the top, and I just keep some of my stationery things in there that I don't want the kids to easily access, like staples and what are they called? Paper clips, my label maker, things like that. And then in this bottom drawer is where we will be hanging the suspension files. So this is what I'll be using to create our filing system. I've got a packet or a box of these suspension files, and these have the tabs and inserts so that you can attach the tab up here and you can easily read what's inside the file. And then I have my trusty label maker, and these do have the inserts that you can just write on, so you certainly don't need a label maker. I just like making labels. I think it's my years in admin. I just enjoy organizing and writing labels. And actually this is something that, I don't know if you're watching this, you might not homeschool, or even if you don't homeschool but you have children, this is something fun. You can, tell them which letters to press, and it can be just a good exercise, a good educational exercise. It's kind of fun. They can press the buttons, but also you can, you can spell out words together. And my son enjoys making labels as well. He thinks it's a lot of fun. So I've got a label maker, but that isn't really super necessary, because you can, if you get this type, you can just write on the labels yourself. And then these, I have the heavyweight A4 sheet protectors. Now I just really like the heavyweight ones. I like the way that they feel, and I like, their quality, but you can get much cheaper ones than this. And these are also not super necessary, but I'm going to have them for documents that I don't want to get crushed, or that I just want a bit of extra protection, like our birth certificate, marriage certificate, passport, things like that, that I would just really like a bit of extra protection for. And I might think of something else as I'm going along, but I think as far as, you know, as much as I've thought it out so far, these are the things that I will be using. So I think that before you go out and buy the materials that you need, I think it's worth having a chat with your partner, or just if you're living alone, just having a think about exactly what categories you want to create. This is a packet of 10, but you can get a lot more if you have a bunch of different files that you want to make. So I spoke with my husband about it last night, and while I'll be the one that is, you know, managing our paperwork and things, it's really nice to make decisions like that in a joint way. I think just including your partner so that everyone is on the same page with how it's all set up and, you know, feels kind of a part of creating the home together. So we decided on 6 categories that we wanted. We wanted bills that were due, then we wanted a file for utilities, vehicles, our home, so we rent this place, so we want to keep our lease agreement in there, legal documents like birth certificate, passport, marriage certificate, things like that, and what was the other one? Oh, tax paperwork. So in the future we will be adding a homeschool file, which will keep our certificate of registration on there. Elijah is still 5, so he won't be registered till the end of this year, but once we have that will go in there. And then we'll also add a charity file. So the money that we give at the moment is, you can't claim any tax on it. So we don't need to have that. But if you give to a charity that, you know, you need to keep the receipts or whatever, then it's worth having one of those as well. So you could also have files if you need to keep other documents for tax, like work-related files. If you need to keep receipts for petrol or eating out or whatever, then you might want to create a file for that. But it's really depends on your home and your family situation, what kind of files or what kind of categories you need and how many files you'll need to create. So I'm just going to create 6 today for the basic ones that we need, but I did buy a box of 10 so that in the future we can add more. So I did want to mention 2 other ideas. One is that if you like the idea of having a filing cabinet with the suspension files where you just kind of drop the paperwork in and it's done, then the other option, but you don't have the money or the inclination to go out and get a filing cabinet, or you don't have the space or whatever the reason, you can buy little kind of what are they called? I can't think of what they're called, but you can buy cardboard or plastic. I'll look it up, and I can't think of what they're called. I look it up and insert a picture, but you can buy those really cheap, and it's a very similar idea, and you can just keep it under your bed or in a safe drawer, and it's still the same kind of, you just open it up, pop the file in, pop the paper in the right file, and they've got tabs and everything. So it's a very similar method, just takes up a lot less room, and is probably a cheaper option as well if you're looking to meet those 2 needs. And the other option is just keeping a plastic envelope like this one here. And this is what I used, and I just put a label on it, bills to be paid, and I got this from a dollar shop. I think it was sort of $2 or $3, really inexpensive. And I just popped a label on it, and when I receive a bill, I used to just put the bill in there. And it's really great if you're using the envelope system for budgeting. You can just pop the bill in, and then each week, if you're kind of saving your money to pay off the bill, you can just pop money in there because it's a totally sealed envelope. And that method did work really well. We've just got more bills and more paperwork, and I wanted somewhere to file all of our paperwork. So I don't use that anymore, but I did use this in the beginning. before we had the filing cabinet and everything, I would just get the bill, pop it in, put in a bit of money each week until the bill was due, and then I used to take that to the post office and pay for the bill. Now, most of the time our bills arrive via email and we just pay online, which is super convenient, particularly with a little baby. But I do want to print off the bills when they arrive, so that I can file them in the correct file once they have been paid, just for our own security and peace of mind, to know that we've got the bill and we can easily access when we paid the bill and the receipt number and everything, just in case anything came up. But those are two other options that are a bit cheaper and take up much less space. Also, I just thought that I would mention, if you're in Australia and you use one of the Dymo label makers, Big W I needed to buy some refill, like the paper refill, and Big W have one for $13, or you can get a 2-pack for $15. So I thought that was a really good deal and worth getting if you use it quite a bit. I was also just thinking about some other files that people might need, and you might want one for medical documents if you want to keep your scripts or any referrals or anything you have, medical documents in there, and also a bank file as well could be helpful if you get your statement sent to you, or
I have a bank file.
If you do. I've got Elijah here helping me. He is opening up the refill packets for the label maker, and he's going to help me type out the labels.
Hi.
Hi. We were just eating some popping candy, weren't we? Elijah went to a birthday party yesterday. I know. Elijah went to a birthday party yesterday, and they gave a little gift lolly bag, and it had popping candy in it. What did you think of it?
It was so horrible. It hurt my gums.
Oh dear.
It hurt my
Hurt your tongue?
I hurt my tongue.
Yeah, it's a bit funny, isn't it?
It's a bit painful.
Did it taste good?
Hey, someone's spying on us.
No. Yes, but those were the other two files that I had thought that could be helpful if you needed them. A medical file and a bank file. If you've got loans or credit cards or anything, we don't have anything like that, so we don't need it, but that could definitely be helpful if you have those sorts of things.
The first one that we'll do is vehicles. So we need to find the V. Can you see the V anywhere? Perfect. And then E. Good job. And then H. Yeah, so we can print it.
Then now the machine's working, isn't it?
And it got new paper. Let's see how it turned out.
Perfect. Good job.
The guy.
So now that I have created the files, I am just going to get started stuffing all of my paperwork into the files and popping them into the filing cabinet, and that is one project that is ticked off my list. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope that it was helpful if you're just starting out a home or starting out a home filing system, and I will speak to you again soon. Goodbye.